Joining us today, local real estate agent Tony Johal is back on the show. So Tony, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so lots to talk about. We got the numbers for June last week, and we're seeing that average price of a detached home in the region is now back up over the $1 million mark again. So was that expected, and is that about what you're seeing out there?
You know what, consistently it's always been hovering just under $1 million, and then the spring market, just a couple of big sales, really has kind of pushed it above that $1 million mark. Whether it's sustainable over $1 million is we'll have to wait and see. But there's a tremendous difference between the average detached versus the average semi. You're talking several $100,000. So it'll be interesting to see how long the detached can continue to stay above $1 million.
Okay. In terms of buyers that are out there, I know in the spring, the last time we talked, the market was starting to heat back up. More properties were coming online. Are we still in a busy market this time of year? We
are. You know what? There's just not enough inventory. And it seems to be the same old song that we're saying there's not enough inventory and record lows every single month. But the truth is we are facing a low inventoried market. Properties, when they hit the market, if they're priced correctly, if they're in certain parts of town, they're going into bidding wars. And we're still seeing that, late into the spring market.
And are we seeing a lack of inventory? I'm guessing it's because, people who own a home, they don't really want to sell theirs till they buy something because of how fast everything happens now.
I think that's the biggest concern for many people. People who own a house, many of them acknowledge that this isn't their forever home. But the biggest issue they're facing is, if I sell here, where do I go next? Because many of them are giving up a great rate that they already have for maybe a year, another 2 years left. And they're giving that up to go to a higher mortgage because they're upgrading in house, possibly. And on top of that, they are now going to have to take on the new interest rate. So they're not just taking on a higher mortgage, they are taking on today's mortgage rates compared to what they've locked in previously.
We know the Bank of Canada has been raising the rates. We know we're expected to see another rate hike, I think, this Wednesday. Has it been having the intended effect that the bank wants it to have on the Canadian housing market? I
would say so. You know what, reviewing offers regularly, I'm not seeing these dramatic jump over asking prices that we saw last year. Now, we're still seeing tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands, going above the asking price. But when you go 100,000, 200,000 above the asking price, it's certainly a lot more rare today than what it was 18 months ago. So yes, I would say it certainly had an impact on what's going on in the market. For a long time, the market was almost like a runaway train. So this has made, buyers put their conditions back in there. Sellers are a bit more cautious because they know that their house is going to take a little bit longer to sell, so they're not jumping in without that home sale condition as readily as what they were. So it's definitely making people think twice.
Has it reduced the number of buyers that you've seen in the market, in the region particularly?
It definitely has. Now, even though we've talked about it being a low inventoried market, it would be a lot more severe in terms of multiple offers if many of the buyers did not have to leave the market. If they were still in the market and we have a low inventoried market, we would still be getting 30, 40 offers on a property. But right now we're getting anywhere from 2 to 3 to 5. You're not getting dozens and dozens like it was predictably was before. So certainly a lot of people have been pushed out of the market. Affordability is an issue for many people as well.
And what types of properties have you seen kind of be sitting on the market for longer, just for buyers who, maybe don't want to get in a bidding war situation?
Honestly, it can be any type of property. The biggest thing is these days is pricing is so sensitive. It used to be that homes on near the 401 would sell super quick. But now if they're overpriced, buyers are so familiar, they're so well acclimated to this market. They have a lot of tools at their disposal. Also using comparables again, which I think is important. So really it's price dependent.
Okay, so it feels stabilizing. That would be a word.
It is. It's definitely somewhat normal again.
Okay.
Yes.
Tony Johal joining us today. Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.